Hi, guys.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. We know that Facebook is building an audience right now for us, so we'll just give this a minute for you guys to hop on. We're just also checking and making sure camera angles are good and that Garrett, who always looks handsome, looks real good on camera. Yeah, so let's give this another 15, 20 seconds or so as, see, it says, you're live, building an audience for you. Good, like that.
Thumbs up.
Who gave us the thumbs up? See, oh, it's my sister.
Hi,
Yay,
Ann.
sis. Thanks for jumping on.
Long time no see.
Oh, my good friend Sylvia is coming on. Hey, guys. Let's see how the connection goes. It says the connection is a little bit weak, so hopefully one of these, we have two Facebook pages going on. We got Garrett's live and mine is live. So if it does, one of these will hopefully work out, and then what we'll do is we'll repost. We'll go ahead and repost. Okay, so you're giving me thumbs up and a heart saying that things are good. Give me another thumbs up if you're still being able to see my broadcast. That would be great. Okay, yay, we got some people jumping on. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, thanks,
Hello.
sis. Thanks, you're letting me know that you can see things and that Facebook could be lying to me when they say that the connection isn't very strong. Oh, there you go. Okay, yes, so you are seeing that. Great. Thanks, sis, for letting us know that. All right. Well, guys, welcome. It is about a minute or two past 7 o'clock here in Denver, and we are so happy to have you join us here this evening, as we know your time is valuable and you choose your time wisely in where you spend it. And we are very, very honored to have you join us this evening. I am very honored and very privileged that my very, very good friend, and who has also been a very good mentor to me as well, just very pleased to have Garrett Duncan join us this evening. Garrett and I, we've discussed this before. We've worked together in other lifetimes. And we have both been shamans in other lifetimes. As a matter of fact, I've been also under your mentorship in other lifetimes as well as a shaman. So it was, of course, natural that we were going to come together in this lifetime and do some more work and share some more lights here on the planet. So
Yes.
I'm very, very pleased to have my good friend Garrett Duncan here this evening. And we, did you want to add something to that? I know you want to say hi to people as well,
Yes.
because people
Hi,
are
guys.
jumping on.
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
Just want to say hello. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It's been a while. Both Sophia and I have been wanting to come together and collaborate and bring about this manifestation. And I'm so happy that it's actually manifesting on today, because today is a very special day. And I will share that later in the broadcast
Okay.
as to why.
All right, well, I want to know what that is, so let's not forget, because
Okay.
I want to know what that means to
Okay.
you.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks. I'm so privileged to be here. Our subject today, for those of you who are kind of curious, first of all,
Hi, Nanda.
yay,
Nice seeing
Fernanda.
you.
Yeah, there's a lot of you that are jumping on, and then you've got people on your page as well.
Kay. Hi, Kay.
Hey, Kay.
Merlin says hello.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people that are jumping on.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Keep on coming on and throw us some love. Yay, thumbs up, hearts, whatever you guys want to throw us. And also, please throw in comments and questions that you have, and then we will do our best to get to them at the very end and answer any questions and read your comments out loud here on the broadcast. But here's the topic of the evening, okay? First of all, I think most people are kind of curious. They may have heard of the term shaman, maybe not. Maybe they've never heard of that at all. What is a shaman? And then the next question is, you and I are both different types of shamans.
Yeah.
And what kind of messages do we get, and how do we contribute to the greatest good of the planet? So maybe you answer that first question. What is a shaman in your eyes, and what do you do as a shaman? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to kind of reiterate the linguistic aspect of what the word means. Shaman comes from the Siberian nation in Russia. It's actually a native word, and I believe it has something to the nature of translating to someone who is how best to explain this, a messenger of sorts, or a keeper of spirit, messenger of spirit, something along those lines, someone who intercedes on behalf of the tribe. So my definition is kind of along those lines, because I've been medicine man, medicine woman, shaman, shamaness, if you want to even call it that too. I know in many, many lifetimes, I always like to say that I've been around, and those of you who know me know that I've done so.
Yeah.
Yep, so I guess now, modern day times, shamanism has changed, and it's starting to evolve, because we're moving into a heart-based approach to spirituality and to healing. And so it's evolving. It's evolving with these changing times. It's always constantly evolving. So to me, as long as we're there as a messenger, as someone who facilitates healing, all of these, to me, shaman is defined by many of these different meanings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that.
Sure.
I concur with everything that you say. And for me as well, shamanism is those that get guidance, harness spirit realms, work and communicate and connect with other spirit realms. And that energy is harnessed, and it assists us as conduits or instruments in facilitating and assisting, guiding healings with all creation on the planet, whether that's the land, with animals, with plants, with humans. And we are assisting and guiding in some kind of, healing. And that is coming through the spirit realm and using us as a conduit.
Yes.
So we are also seers, which means we have psychic gifts.
Yep, seers.
Yeah, we are mediums, and we connect with those from the other side that have passed away, as well as just other spirit realms in general. That's mediumship. And then also we use those energies, whether it's from the cosmos or from the lands or from what we consider elementals.
The trees, the rocks,
right,
the stones, nature, yep.
Fairies,
feathers,
gnomes.
feathers.
Gnomes, I just dealt with the gnomes recently. That was wild. I texted you about that one.
Yeah.
And so there's the elementals and all kinds of other spirit realms that we work with. And each of us have our own kind of specialty in how we work with that to assist in, like I said, the highest good of all creation on the planet.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that's integrity for me has always been very important, especially in this realm, in the realm of change and what's happening a lot in the world. Integrity is something that is very important, especially with regards to healing and individuals who are facilitating healing and acting as messengers and acting as conduits. There's a certain responsibility that comes with taking on these initiatives and these individuals who come to us for help. And that was something that one of my mentors had shared with me, is that we have the power to change somebody's destiny.
Yeah.
We have the power, we have the capability, and if you think about it, if you really think about that, that is a lot of responsibility. So you kind of need to know when to step in, when not to say anything, when just to say something because that person needs it at the time, if whether or not they're supposed to be healed, whether or not there's any karmic debt or karmic alleviation as a result of the healing. So a lot of it comes about when you're working in these realms, and luckily, we have a lot of helpers out there to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I mean, the integrity, because we know that the things that come out of our mouths and the connections, anything that we're using as energy and it's coming into physical manifestation, and that's coming through in our words, how we show up in the world, our energy is I mean, it assists and guides a lot of people. A lot of people do rely heavily on what we say. And it is ultimately up to them and you as the receiver to interpret that message and how you take the message. However, I'm with you. The delivery of the message is very important as well. I mean, it is it changes people's lives. So we take our work very, very seriously.
Yes.
Very seriously, as we know how much it can change. And we've
Yep.
seen it change
Yep.
people's lives.
We've seen it change. I've heard a lot of validation, and just briefly mentioning one individual that I assisted not too long ago. She had lost the power to smell due to an accident, due to trauma, and I basically did my magic and did my wave my feathers, and she was able to smell again. So she was very appreciative of this. And so a lot of those miracles, if you want to call them that, miracles and allowing the magic to happen, it's out there, but it's just up to us whether or not we allow ourselves to follow it, allow ourselves to be in the flow. So that's kind of the nature of the game right now, especially with the changing of the guard and the new world that's coming into place. So a lot of it is, as I mentioned, is around the heart consciousness and being in the flow and being excited. So it's just a whole bunch of different new venues and new arenas that we're here to explore. And I think that's also something that is important to be when it comes to shamans, because shamanism it has multi definitions. There's different meanings behind it. A shaman can be a heyoka. It could be the sacred clown. It could be an empath. It could be someone who is a medium, as Sophia mentioned. But medicine man, these kind of older terms that have been around for a long time, now is more shifting into modern day shamanism, more terms that are easier to understand, easier to navigate, easier to accept, I guess. So one of the things that I find working in this realm is individuals who come to me, they always ask me a question, oh, are you a shaman? And I said, well, if that's what you think I do, but I'm just me. I'm just here facilitator. I'm just a facilitator of energy. I'm a facilitator of messages. If you want to call me a shaman, I know I've been shaman, but that's your definition. And if that appeals to you, that appeals to you. So
That's exactly right. And for the longest time, I think myself, even putting that label of a shaman is challenging. I wanted to put it out there today because I think that's a term that if those of you that are on here, are familiar with that term. That's why you're here. You want to know more. And it's a term that is familiar in working with the spirit realms and facilitating healings. But it was a little challenging for me to actually accept and take on even that term because first of all, I don't really care for labels. But I think in our humanness, we require labels so that it can just be a basic, easier understanding for people in communication and such. But I agree with you. I mean, even when you and I have talked, and I think you said something to me 2.5 years now that we've known each other, you said, oh, well, you're a galactic shaman amongst our other friends. And I said, galactic shaman? What? I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
And I just wasn't even like, it was just hard for my brain to wrap around what galactic shaman was. And so I now understand the meaning behind it and almost the responsibility, if we want to call it that, behind what that means.
Yep.
And so now I can grasp it a little bit easier.
Yep.
But I just thought to myself, that just sounds really out there and a lot of, just too much for me to deal with. So, yeah, it was funny.
I can understand. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, as you know, Sophia had mentioned, the labeling of this term shaman, most of the people who come to me who are very connected to shamanism, they're always so happy and appreciative because I have the native background. I come from the Navajo Nation, was born and raised there. And so therefore that label of me having that genetic bloodline, having the notion that I look the part, that responsibility, and I said it's okay for me to call myself that, and people are comfortable with it. But for those of you, who are out there and I've seen many of different colors, of different backgrounds and ethnicities. They've been shaman, and one of the fun classes that I teach is recognizing and honoring your inner native, where I do a reading and people who've been Native American, indigenous peoples in the past, I tend to bring that to light, because one thing that Spirit had shared with me, it's important for individuals who are non-native in this lifetime to have that validation, to give them that sense of confidence, that sense of sincerity, to let them know it's okay to call yourself this, because, hey, I've worked with sage. Hey, I've used cedar. Hey, why is it that I feel so called? You know, I watch Dances with Wolves, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that movie just speaks to me. So those are just some of the insights to me, letting me know that, hey, you've done this before. You know I've done it many lifetimes, and I know that's where Sophia and I had met initially, is that she was an apprentice to me back in the Native lifetimes that we had shared. And so for those of you out there, I just want to encourage you to explore, continue to embrace that part of you, working with sage, working with cedar, talking to the trees, listening to the stones, working with your crystals. And right now, the water is very important. So working with the elements of water, air, fire, all of it has a lot of this shaman notions and different backgrounds, but they all support kind of like one big cause, one big, I'm not explaining it, just more or less one just, what would you say? One big
Yeah.
holistic view, or well, I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes that happens.
Just one. We as
The
one.
oneness, right?
Oneness.
The oneness.
Yes, that's the best
recognizing the oneness, recognizing the tree, recognizing the inner tree of who we are, recognizing the inner elemental of who we are, recognizing the inner rock, the inner crystal. And so even to the point where now we're moving into intergalactic, becoming the intergalactic human. So we're recognizing those aspects, the star aspect of who we are, and remembering that piece.
Yeah.
So that's important. It's the notion and the way of the new world right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about, we have, and it's just like doctors, attorneys, insurance agencies, there's just different types, okay? There's different types, there's specialties out there. We have our own specialties, and we have certain groups that we work with for right now, and then more groups tend to come in as we're done working with one group, another group kind of comes in. And as you had spoken about, yours is Native American Indian, and I have been Native American Indian with you, as amongst many of you. We've all had those lifetimes, and this lifetime I was born Asian. And I've had other lifetimes born Asian, just like all of you, and as you as well. So far, my work with the spirit realm has been mainly a lot of Eastern Asian, also from India, ascended masters. I work with archangels. I work with all types of different beings. I mean, now we're dealing not only with cosmos beings, but then I'm working with the elementals, the gnomes. The gnomes, guys. I know that sounds really out there, but
the gnomes.
I had to look up gnomes. I had to look up gnomes.
She didn't even know what a gnome was.
I didn't know. I went to Sedona. So what happened was, let's just talk about this, because this is really funny, because it's really out there for a lot of you. We're talking about a subject that's really out there anyway, and we were laughing because we were like, we have to be crazy to do this work.
Yep.
But even I was surprised, and I didn't think there was a lot that could surprise me anymore. But I was driving onto Sedona, and I knew that I had been invited there by a spirit realm, which really, they weren't really showing themselves. And I was asking, okay, is it the Native American Indian spirit realm that has invited me? Because I feel you guys kind of in the background, but it's not really you that has invited me. So I'm driving onto the land in Sedona, and I'm like, reveal yourselves. Who invited me onto the land, and why do you have me here? All of a sudden, a gnome appears, and I think I'm losing it. I'm like, no one's gonna believe me. Why? What is this gnome? And I start laughing and giggling. Gnomes? They exist? They're for real? I do not know that they existed. I thought, like the rest of you, this stuff comes from cartoons, fairy tales, gnomes, Fantasyland. And I'm like, gnomes? and then they start laughing, and then they're showing me a picture in my mind's eye of themselves. Trust me, I'm not thinking of gnomes, guys. I'm thinking other realms, but not gnomes. And then they start showing me, and I'm driving on the road, and they start showing me bushes that are cone shaped like they're hats, and they keep on laughing, and I'm laughing. I'm just laughing, and I'm like, this is crazy. Who's gonna believe me? Who's going to believe me? Who's going to believe me? Garrett. I have to text Garrett. I have to text Garrett and see what Garrett thinks about this. And I remember what you said to me. You said,
what did I say?
You said to me, and this was funny. You're like, are you seriously asking me this right now? You are asking me this as if I should know that yes, gnomes exist. I was laughing so hard, and I thought to myself, yes, I am seriously asking you this because I think I'm going crazy. Somebody needs to lock me up in the loony bin.
Yeah,
You don't get it. Somebody needs to lock me up. Gnomes are communicating with me, people. And it was just the funniest thing.
They're real. They're real.
See, this is, you have to be crazy to do our work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow, yes, your imagination is for real. Okay, you have to trust that these are for real. I mean, we get all kinds of messages that come into physical manifestation. We get physical evidence that our messages come to life. And I'm sitting here going, gnomes? Really? Okay. So anyway, that's my gnome story. I know some of you are going to be like, okay, she's really lost it. Trust me, I know I have. I know I have. So
that's okay.
So yes, even these things surprise us. Even these things surprise us. And I always thought that I just worked with Eastern Asian masters.
But I think that's important though for Sophia to have learned that lesson and to be comfortable with it because being a shaman or being part of that shamanistic world, you have to be open and not be surprised by a lot of things that show themselves like this. And so therefore for her, it was kind of an awakening and a remembering and recognizing her inner gnome. Because, yeah, that's why they show up, her inner gnome because, and I think I recall telling her too, I said, gnomes are part of the elementals. For those of you who may not know, the elementals kingdoms are the individuals like the fairies, the elves, the pixies, the walking sticks. They're very in tune with nature. They're very in tune with flowers. A lot of our star kids nowadays are elemental beings. If you have a fairy child, they probably get distracted really easily, love sparkly things, love things that smell really good. So that's kind of how you tell that your son or daughter may be part of that realm. But gnomes are builders. So just when you think like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, it's kind of along that nature. Gnomes are the ones that are they are builders. So whatever it is, and I think I told Sophia, I said, what are you building right now? What is something that you're laying a foundation for? And she kind of started to explain a little about her work and these interviewing and taking this to the next level. And I said, well, that's the reason why they're showing up, because they're helping to lay down the foundation. And so so just so you guys know, there's a gnome sitting right on my shoulder. It's talking me. It's talking. It wants you guys to know not to leave out an important thing.
Okay.
Gnomes help take care of your gardens. They said that they're in the gardens all the time. They help the plants. They help the seeds grow and flourish. They're showing me that they're playing instruments. Like I see one with some type of violin or something. And it's playing so that this tree can rejuvenate and relive itself because it looks like it's not doing so well. So they're very important for your garden. So the notion of going to a nursery and finding a statue of a gnome, you might want to consider that, especially if you want them to be part of your garden and to have like the best garden and have the best vegetables.
That's great. And you know what? Speaking of the gnome that's sitting on your shoulder, they did remind me just now as you're talking also, they were telling me they are also protectors or guards. They protect and guard treasures under the land. So they're not always on the surface. They're underneath protecting and guarding all kinds of treasures under the land. And that could be just the minerals of the earth.
The crystals.
Yeah, crystals, minerals, anything that is not on the surface, as well as on the surface too. So.
And there's a lot from just kind of tuning into what they're sharing, is there's actually a lot of things out there in the mineral kingdom that has not been discovered yet. They're showing images of new crystals that are being mined right now that are going to be found in the next year or so. They're also talking about a new mineral that's going to be eventually going to lead to some type of supplement to help with some of the physical aches and pains. But mostly I'm hearing about tumors and brain tumors. And so along the lines of cancer. So these elementals are actually bringing this awareness to us and to you all, that as long as we're open like this, they are actually helping. You know, they're helping raise the vibration, but they're also helping humanity. And those of us who are open enough to listen and willing to do so, of course, they're going to give us these type of insights, and they're going to show us, you know, how we can go about utilizing their energy and go about finding these treasures, which are going to be a benefit to mankind. Yeah, and that's part of also just being a shaman.
Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit, because let's talk about the different tools that we both use.
Okay.
We use some of the same tools, and then there are probably some different ones. I'm not really quite sure what's all in your collection. But being that I do work with a lot of, like I said, Asian masters, I have lots of bells, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of different things. I have one of these little bells, and then I have what we call a tingsha bell, and I use these a lot for clearing and releasing all kinds of energies, as long as releasing vows that we've taken in other lifetimes. But I do a lot of clearing work with these bells, as well as I use what we call a Tibetan singing bowl, which is probably something that a lot of you are familiar with, and it's got a very nice soothing sound, and I do guided meditations with this, as well as clearings. It breaks up the energy. All of these items break up the energy and allow just, to be balanced, aligned, and back in flow. So I use a lot of these to clear buildings, homes, people. I do a lot of energy alignment, and a lot of these things come and are downloaded and channeled and transmitted through me to assist in my work with not only the lands, but also with the clients that come for clearing work with me.
And
So.
yep, that's right. Part of the definition is being open. Something for me that has come a lot into light recently is individuals who are wanting to learn, individuals who want to know what type of tools that they can be utilized. When you think shaman, you probably think, oh, crazy feathers in the hair, right? Just like, whoa, oh my goodness. Normally I would be wearing feathers in my hair, but I chose not to do so tonight.
You want to look modern tonight?
Yeah, I want to look a little bit modern. Didn't want it to go all out. We'll save that for Star Knowledge.
We'll talk about that.
So therefore, with me though, a lot of the native background that I have, I'm Navajo in this lifetime, as I mentioned, but I've been Lakota before. I've been part of the ancestral pueblos, the ones known as the Anasazi. I lived there at Mesa Verde, at Chaco Canyon. I had that strong resonance with those people. I've also been part of the Mississippian culture, where they're known as the mound builders in Cahokia and Serpent Mound in Ohio. So I know I have those real strong, deep roots. I've been Mayan before, I've been Incan before. And so a lot of those lifetimes have come back into surface for me, and even tools. Even certain tools that you guys are going to find this very disbelieving, but I program tools from previous lifetimes to come back to me in this lifetime. And I've had one right now so far that's come back from a lifetime before. And so it was amazing, and I saw what I did with this tool. But one of the tools that I use, or I should say a lot of the tools that I used here, is with feathers. The feathers, for me, I work a lot with the Eagle Nation. The Eagle Nations are the ones that have provided to me a lot of direction about the Star Nation, the cosmic connection, Earth, looking at a lot of Earth for who she is, what she's here to do, looking at things from such a higher perspective. And so therefore, when all of this abilities and all of my awakening was going on, one of the things that I knew I had to get was my eagle feathers. And so these eagle feathers have come to me during the time after my spiritual awakening. And on top of that, so I have these feathers here, which are bald eagle. And for those of you who don't know, if you're not native, it is illegal for you to have these. You have to have a permit for them. You have to have a permit and also license to carry them. So just FYI to you. So that process I had to get and obtain. And then just recently, in the last 2 years ago, I was given guidance by Spirit that it was time to fulfill and assist in fulfilling the prophecy of the condor and the eagle. So therefore, the condor feather came to me, and I was told that putting these energies together, that it was going to be very important, and I was going to do a lot of very deep healing for a lot of people to help them regain their sense of smell, to help them with whatever it is that's ailing them. And so as you can imagine, if you take a look at them here, see how much use they have between them. They no longer look nice and pretty. In Native way, they say these are their battle scars and their battle wounds. So the feathers take on a lot of the negativity, take on a lot of the ailing conditions, so as to protect me, so that I don't take them on. So that's just kind of one of the main tools that I utilize for myself, that I carry with me at almost every healing ceremony or every healing session that I do for the people. Most people will see me with my feathers. Yep.
And I know both of us, we both use crystals.
Yes.
We use lots and lots of crystals, all kinds of crystals for assisting in opening chakras, especially the heart chakra, which is what's pinnacle right now on the planet. Because all of us are being asked to break down those walls or the shells around our heart and allow more of the light in our heart to come out and expand and flow. And that's how things are going to change on the planet, guys. And then we've got crystals for protection, crystals for grounding energy to keep us grounded
keep
and here
us
on
here
the
in the
planet.
body.
Yeah, because otherwise, you and I, we would probably be floating away and saying goodbye,
Right.
And floating up with the cosmos.
Yep.
And let's see, I'm thinking
And it's
of other
just
crystals.
another
yeah.
tool. There's
Yeah.
these tools and the different color resonance of the crystals and the stone nations. In Native wisdoms, they acknowledge them as the stone nations, they call them. And so that's part of just having the notion of background of being shaman is to have the stone nation as part of your toolkit, as I like to say. And so within our toolkit, crystals and utilizing them to help with healing, to use them in divination purposes, for example. Among the Navajo Nation, we do utilize crystals. The seers, they call them crystal gazers. So they use crystals to scan into the body and determine whether or not a certain ailment needs to be cleansed, a certain ceremony needs to be performed. So the crystal gazers definitely use quartz a lot. They use a lot of quartz crystals down there.
Yeah, clear quartz. I use a lot of clear quartz as well. Yep. And just so let me just share a little bit about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing something called moss agate. It's pretty. There's green, a little bit of pink in there, and lighter colors that are kind of pearl looking. And this is just assisting me a little on these are mala beads. There's 108 of these. They're used in meditation or used to actually assist me as I am transitioning into another phase another phase in my life right now. And these are assisting me with creativity and keeping myself open to that flow of creativity that's coming through in this new phase of my life. So I know that you're wearing some things that you might want to share that I don't even recognize. I don't know what these are.
These are all for, so the crystals that I have here, this is part of what Sophia had mentioned, is one of the roles that I'm doing in this lifetime is to take shamanism to the next level in the form of galactic shamanism. So the classes that I teach are intergalactic in nature. And so intergalactic shamanism is represented to me by this here, which is the foundation, which is a medicine bag. So I do have a medicine bag here with all different little medicines that have been gifted to me by nature and earth. And then the cosmic component is this piece here. And this piece here is a cosmic star piece that was made directly for me. It was specifically programmed with different frequencies to align to my energies, and also with frequencies from different star nations to help facilitate my gift of sight, and also to facilitate the healing that I'll be channeling to help people. So a lot of the cool, fun things I would like to say are around crystals. And to me, this just kind of symbolizes the type of work that I'm doing, because, you know, an old way, traditional aspect of shamanism, you see a lot of people wearing medicine bags, people who have medicine bags. And for those of you who are familiar with this, you know that certain energies go into the medicine bags, maybe certain things, significant events that happen in your life go into the medicine bag. It's just kind of your own personal storyteller, keeper, if you want to call it that. And so therefore, you know, taking it to the next level, these higher energies of the planet and where we're moving, all of this is represented by this piece here. And I normally only wear it whenever I'm doing something like this, but also when I'm doing my messages from spirit, or I'm doing healing sessions for individuals during classes, all of that. So that's how I utilize these crystals.
Great. Well, thank you. And I also wear a ring that was given to me by my boyfriend. It has amethyst for protection, and there's citrine, and then there's I want to see a blue quartz. And if you guys, I'm going to have to go back and kind of meditate and find out. Sometimes I just have to look these things up. They don't always come to me naturally, but I am guided by spirits on where I can look things up on the internet, and which is the most correct information. They direct me to certain sites or certain places to look up the information. So don't think that all of this that we get, as well as you guys, is just coming from some kind of thinking mind. There is a lot of guidance. We all have the opportunity to allow our guides to intervene. We all have guides, and whether you want to call that your spirit guides, your higher self, whether you call that God, whether you call that Joe, whatever you want to call it, source energy, the universe, you don't have to know them by name. As a matter of fact, some of them prefer that you don't even know the name, because to them, names just don't exist in those realms, and they're not important. And as long as you're aware and can open yourself up, like Garrett said, and allow yourselves to let the guidance intervene, that's what's most important. When you're allowing and being in flow and letting them assist you. And you can simply do that by saying, I am asking you to intervene in this situation and show me what is for the divine highest good of myself and everyone involved in this situation. And ask them to show it to you in an easy, smooth, comfortable, harmonious way. Not every lesson, not everything that we experience has to be hard and challenging.
And painful.
Those are old stories. You know the story of, oh, I'm going to succeed if I just work really, really hard. That's an old paradigm and the old way of living. We're entering into the newer, higher dimensions, and even the guides, like they say, well, call it dimensions. That's a very scientific term. We don't use it like that. We're entering into higher vibrational frequency energies, higher energies where we are operating more from our heart, and so it requires us, like a lot of you have heard, the veil is getting thinner. And we're getting guidance in certain ways, and when we can tap into it and harness that, it just makes our lives so much easier. I think my life has been so much easier. I know who's boss. I just let the boss, I let the boss.
Because she's in the flow.
Yeah.
She's in the flow. And just to piggyback off what Sophia said, one of the important things that you need to keep in mind is when you're working with the masters or working with angels or working with spirits like this, the important thing that you need to know and acknowledge is to give them permission to work freely for you in this way. There is a cosmic law here on earth. It's called the law of free will. And these beings that are out there, the angels and the masters, they cannot overstep boundaries and our boundary. So therefore, when you're working with it, for those of you who are in the moment who are really needing help at this time, you're really needing, you're starting to think, why, how high, why isn't this working? Oh my goodness. Did you really stop and ask yourself, did you give permission for them to work freely, to work smoothly, to work gently, so that way that you can know that you're on the right path or know that you're receiving what you need to receive? Give them permission to do so. So therefore, when these things start to happen, then follow it up by asking for validations, because validations are important for us. That's where the synchronicities, the aha moments come into play, and you think of it, oh my God, this is this pure coincidence. One of my calling cards, I'm going to warn you guys right now, is feathers, okay? So if you guys start getting feathers, you're going to know that's from me. It's not like I'm going to deliver it to you in person, but it's going to be like the higher essence of me. I get that story all the time with my students and my teachers of the Featherway. They always comment about how much feathers they get before the class. And so therefore, that's one of my significant aha validations for those of you who want to know that you're on the right path as far as working, with the Featherway or working with feathers. And so moments such as that. The other important thing too that's important for us to really acknowledge and to feel as humans in having this human experience is to be in gratitude. Mm-hmm. Be in gratitude, be at peace, being excited for the possibilities. Mm-hmm. I know it's rough right now. I know the energies of what's going on the earth are very, very harsh right now, but be excited for the horizon of what's going to be there, what the shift is going to be like, this new earth that's being created by all of us, by Sophia and I, by each of you who are doing your work collaboratively, because it's important. You need to be in gratitude. You need to be in heart space, because that's where we are intuitively. That's where we're moving. It's moving even from third eye to heart. Mm-hmm. All of the chakras are starting to merge into one space now. And so therefore, working from the heart and being and recognizing the oneness of who we are, recognizing the greater I am, but moving now to we are. So I am, but moving to we are. That's the next step, and that's where we're moving. 2017 is going to be something very significant based around this concept. So we're just kind of looking forward to it, and we're certainly holding down the fort per se. We're helping as much as we can by performing these healings, by bringing these messages to you. And I think this is something for Sophia and I, it's just the beginning. So for those of you, who are listening right now, certain topics, certain things that you want us to address and questions and whatnot. And I do acknowledge, Sylvia, I will get to that just for a little bit here, just toward the end, your question here. I do want to acknowledge that because I have some insight about this. But interactions such as this, we certainly want to encourage you guys to interact with us. That's why we're here, because we need to be moving more on a global perspective.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, bravo. Thank you for sharing that message. It's so important and so needed right now, especially everything that's going on, especially with what's coming up here, as we all know, in the U.S. with everything with the election, the presidential election. And right now we require a huge amount of light to be shared on the planet, and to really acknowledge, the light. And so, you know what? Let's go into reading some of the questions and the comments from both of our pages and see what people have to say, and then we'll need to wrap it up. But yes, like you said, right, real quick though, before we go into Q&A, guys, Garrett and I have discussed that we will be doing more episodes. As you guys know, I've been doing these, especially with those that are here to really share messages for the highest good of all creation on the planet. It's here to assist in bringing those messages. I also want to make sure that I am bringing forward, and Spirit is bringing forward, really, those that that are serving for the divine highest good, and that open up your minds to what other modalities are out there, not just Western medicine and what MDs provide us. Not saying that you shouldn't go to your MD. We absolutely support that as well. But also, I know a lot of you are looking at alternative modalities and insisting how do you move energy and the flow of energy in your own body, the chi in your own body, and how does that assist in your family, and then it becomes just a bigger on a global scale. So but we will be doing more, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm so blessed to be here with you. And so let's just kind of, you know what, I will do this. How about if I just kind of skim through these and read you what's on here on both of our pages, and see if there's anything that you can answer. Love to see you guys out there. Thanks, guys. Sylvia has a question. Can you tell me anything about the story and significance of the phoenix bird? So you had something that you wanted to say on that, right, Garrett?
Yes. So Sylvia, just to give you a little bit insight with regards to the phoenix. The phoenix is what is going to rise after what's coming up in the next few months. And regarding the elections, as Sophia had mentioned, what is also coming up energetically in the form of the new earth that is forming, continuing to form. A lot of frustration, particularly this is big right now, Standing Rock. What is happening in Standing Rock, and how the native and indigenous peoples are coming together, and every peoples of all the world are coming globally, collaboratively together. That is the phoenix. Phoenix symbolizes rising from the ashes. The ashes symbolizes all the, I wouldn't call it maybe the ickiness, that needs to be released, needs to be transmuted, needs to be let go. And that's where we are right now. And even with some of this anger, this frustration energetically that's happening between all those involved, it's all part of the game. I look at it this way. It's part of the game. People are playing this game of hatred, of hating one another for who they want to be the next president, the game of hating for, wanting to bring this pipeline to Standing Rock and to the reservation, to the lands there. But you're playing the game. But if you can play the game from a higher vibration, from a higher resonance of love and light and appreciation, gratitude, from peace, then the game will be swayed at a different level. And so therefore, one of the things that I mentioned about the phoenix, this is what that is depicting, not just on a personal scale, but on a global scale. So think of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Think of the phoenix, it's a fiery bird, but it's a very beautiful bird. It's a very cosmic bird. It is the very strong empowerment that comes as a result of the ashes that are now the residuals of what once was. So that's how the best way to see it.
Thank you for that. Thank you. There's a lot of people here saying hi to you on
hi,
your page.
Guys.
And we apologize, guys. It's, you had some comments saying, why are we sideways? We didn't realize that was going to be a problem. I think the iPhones, because we have two different iPhones, and for some reason, this one went sideways. But that's okay. The other iPhone has a good video as well that will be right side up.
You're welcome, Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Shout out to my crew who's following me, my Facebook friends. Lucilia, miss you. I know perhaps maybe the three of us will come together. You, I, and De Alva, all three of us need to come together to talk about from a Native perspective. So, Sophia's here. She can certainly, I'm sure we can get this together. And like I mentioned, right now, it's all about collaboration and moving as a wolf pack. The time of the lone wolf is no longer. We're moving in heart resonance. And so therefore, I love it, Gail, I know. So Heyoka energy for sure. So I want to shout out Heyoka Hi to everybody. Heyoka Hi. I'll wear my funny t-shirts next time.
Okay, so we've got comments are moving slowly on here. So we're doing our best here. You guys, okay, proud of you. I want to thank you, brother. To you as well, Sophia. Thank you, Douglas, for that. And love and light. Okay. And, but yeah, we will be sharing the video again if you guys want to watch it right side up. I will tag you on it so that you can share it on your page. Can you, really quick, where can they reach you, and tell us a little bit about Star Knowledge?
Okay, so you guys can reach me at www.navajoilluminations.com. NavajoIllumination.com is my website. It has all my fun event illuminations, which I posted a lot of my work that I've done for the earth, utilizing crystals and utilizing the water. So you'll see pictures in which I've done to assist the earth in her ascension and helping the peoples. But I do want to mention before we close that Star Knowledge is coming up. It's 11 days away. It will be held at Desert Rock Springs near Palm Springs in California. So for those of you in California and near the area, look it up. Star Knowledge is celebrating its 20-year anniversary, and I'm going to be there as a guest speaker. There are going to be other native speakers there, such as Chief Golden Light Eagle, who's along the cosmic lines as me. There will be also Grandmother Lightweaver. There'll be Bobby Joe Cool. She'll be there as well. There'll be all these other individuals that are going to be there talking about ascension, talking about Earth, talking about their personal stories. I'll be there to represent the Heyokas and bringing forth laughter and much light that needs to be shined in that area. So if you can't join us in person, you can certainly join us webinar. We will have live streaming that is available too.
Good.
I will post all of that on my Navajo Illuminations website.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. And then also, if you guys want to get a hold of me and check out my websites and any of the work that I do, any of the work that I do a series of releasing vows of poverty, releasing vows of chastity, celibacy, releasing lower energies, people in your lives that have become obstacles, interferences, challenges, and blocks on your in this lifetime. All kinds of vows that don't serve you anymore in this lifetime, like silence, obedience, all those kind of vows that we've taken in other lifetimes through marriage as well as religion and serving, if we've served as priests, nuns, anything where we were disciples of gurus and for the church, and we've just had all kinds of vows that we've taken in other lifetimes that do not serve us here in this lifetime. I do all kinds of clearing and releasing work around that, and I do spiritual guidance as well for those of you that are looking at something that's alternative to counseling, really wanting to look at how your other lifetimes have come together and serve in this lifetime and why it's still an obstacle or a block or an interference in this lifetime. So I can look into other lifetimes, and we both do we both do transmission and channeling of other masters and other spirit realms as well. And so yeah, we do all kinds of interesting things. I can't even
fun things.
Fun things
fun and crazy things.
Yeah, you can reach me at Sophia SOPHIA Rashkin RASHKIN.com, Sophia-Rashkin.com. We thank you guys again for joining us. Join us again. We'll be doing this again. We're going to look on the calendar and see what we have that's available next to meet up with you guys again. We thank you for spending this last almost hour with us, and we very, very much appreciate the love and the time and the attention that you've given us tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much love and many blessings to all of you.
Yes, many blessings to you.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay.